Ahead on 12 News Weekend, a Maple Grove police officer makes city history.
You are one of two in the history of this department. So congratulations.
Then, is it a sign of things to come for new businesses?
Kickstarter has definitely filled the gap.
The online campaign that could help kickstart a Robbinsdale furniture store. But first, unique local perspective on the conflict in Ukraine. 12 News Weekend starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us on 12 News Weekend. I'm Shannon Slatton.
And I'm Delane Cleveland. As the crisis in Ukraine deepens, local residents are keeping a close eye on the conflict.
Ukraine split from Russia in 1991 when the Soviet Union dissolved. The two nations are at odds over Crimea, the Ukrainian peninsula, where ethnic Russians are the majority. Reporter Sonia Goins spoke with two local residents who have a unique perspective on the crisis.
Arcadis Market has been in business in Plymouth for 20 years.
Anything else for you?
It's rich in Russian culture and food.
Thank you very much.
Lana Markiva owns the shop with her mother.
Really, my mom could not become a lawyer because she was a Jew.
They moved to the United States 22 years ago from Ukraine and are U.S. citizens.
It was the Soviet Union, and we all republics spoke Russian.
She doesn't like to see Russia and Ukraine at odds.
To me, it's terrible. It's horrible. I cannot understand it. It's like I have some Ukrainian blood. I have some Russian blood.
I don't think loving your country is nationalistic.
Nadia Oporista is also from Ukraine.
Oh, my heart aches. I'm worried.
She moved here 24 years ago and is also a U.S. citizen.
You know, I escaped because of KGB and prosecution. I used to be a professional writer in Ukraine.
Nadia has very different views from Lana.
Unfortunately, Putin has all this, huge appetite, I would say, and imperial views. That is like Russian Empire. He always wants to get back.
That was the biggest heartbreak for me when Russia and Ukraine separated, because honestly, that to me is just one nation.
But they can both agree they don't want to see any more bloodshed in their native land.
I worry for the entire country, because there were so many people killed already.
I hope Ukraine comes out of this situation peacefully with whatever they need to go on with their life, and I hope the new government they select reverses all the damage that's been done to the country.
Sonia Goins reporting there. According to the census, 43,000 Minnesotans claim Russian ancestry, and many of them live right here in the West Metro. In fact, some people call Plymouth Little Russia because of the number of Russian businesses in that city.
New statistics show more Minnesotans than ever have permits to carry a gun. According to the State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, more than 60,000 gun permits were issued last year. Close to 8,000 of those permits were issued in Hennepin County. Some attribute the rise to the Sandy Hook school shooting in 2012 that prompted a national debate on gun control.
Everybody who has a concealed carry permit has to go through the training course. You have to understand not just how to use the firearm, but under what circumstances they will use that firearm, and understand that it gives them no legal authority to use it other than to defend themselves.
There are currently more than 165,000 active gun permits in the state, which is a record.
In our weekend review, a former Gopher basketball star is suing Robbinsdale police, claiming an officer used excessive force. Melvin Newbern claims Officer Brian Sloat knocked him to the ground, causing a concussion. Newbern had been pulled over on suspicion of drunken driving. His attorney says a urine test later revealed that Newbern was not driving under the influence. A bus driver from New Hope says he's not a hero for rescuing 4 kids from a burning bus, including 2 in wheelchairs. Brooklyn Park Police dashcam video shows smoke billowing out of the front of the bus. A nurse also helped in the rescue. It remains unclear how the fire got started. And lawmakers are considering approving $2 million worth of renovations to the Plymouth Ice Center. They toured the facility on Friday. The city of Plymouth would pay the rest of the $4 million price tag. The city says since the arena is the second largest and one of the busiest in the state, it's a regional attraction and should get state funding.
A Maple Grove police officer has made history with his recent courageous actions. Jesse Mathwig is only the second Maple Grove police officer in 20 years to receive the department's Medal of Valor. Reporter Cassie Bonstrom has more.
It was just over a month ago that Maple Grove officer Jesse Mathwig and several others saved the life of a man stuck in a burning car on 169 near 694. The driver had run off the highway in a snowstorm. His spinning tires started on fire and the flames quickly spread. In a ceremony Monday night at the city council meeting, the three men were honored with prestigious awards for their life-saving efforts.
For an act of bravery which demonstrates obvious self-sacrifice in the face of death or serious physical injury.
Officer Mathwig received the Medal of Valor, for he was the one on that cold, snowy January morning who broke the car's window and unbelted the burned and barely conscious driver. The Medal of Valor is the highest award the department gives out.
Officer Mathwig, and you should be very, very proud of that. You are one of two in the history of this department. So congratulations.
Sergeant Adam Lindquist and Hennepin County Sheriff's Deputy Matthew Hagan received awards for their roles as well. Lindquist received the Medal of Commendation for managing the chaotic scene. Hagan received a letter of recognition for first trying to put out the flames and then for helping Officer Mathwig drag the driver out of the car.
Kind of go on instinct, and based on training, you know what you got to do, and afterwards you think about it, but at the time you're just kind of go through the motions, and you don't really you kind of block all the other stuff out.
All three are modest about their heroism, but if it hadn't been for their quick thinking, the outcome of this call could have been much different. In Maple Grove, I'm Cassie Bonstrom, 12 News.
The driver was initially taken to HCMC, and he's now recovering from his injuries. Well, coming up on 12 News Weekend, is it a sign of things to come? We'll show you how a Robbinsdale couple is trying to kickstart its new business.
And then later in sports, Hopkins runs past Eden Prairie to advance to the state boys basketball tournament.
But first, a stretch of 40-degree days appear. In Minnesota, we call it a warm front.
Downtown Robbinsdale has seen a resurgence in recent years.
A number of high-profile restaurants have sprouted up, turning West Broadway into a Twin Cities foodie destination. Now another small business is trying to contribute to that resurgence, but in order to accomplish that goal, they need the public's help.
So this is an English credenza.
As the old saying goes, one man's trash
It was probably produced mid-50s, early 60s.
is another man's treasure.
Now I'm bringing it back to its original state, to where it should be.
Yet for Bill Kurth of Robbinsdale, that phrase isn't just a tired old cliche.
It was almost like a means of survival.
For 10 years, Bill and his wife Cara have collected furniture from the 50s and 60s.
It was stuff that we could find, that we could afford in thrift stores.
They've built a business refurbishing furniture, first selling it out of their garage, then buying space and gutting a building in downtown Robbinsdale for their business.
And then we got to the point where we got into the electrical and the mechanical and realized that everything needed to be redone, that essentially it wasn't even safe, the things that had been done prior to our occupancy in the building.
To achieve their goal, they've launched a Kickstarter campaign which gives them 30 days to raise $17,000. The money will help them complete the necessary work on the building's interior.
This is definitely a necessity for Kickstarter to work because without it, we'd probably be, a year out.
Experts say the idea of asking the public to fund such a project has become increasingly common as bank loans have become more difficult to receive.
Kickstarter has definitely filled the gap of a certain need for financing out there.
Alec Johnson, a business professor at St. Thomas, successfully funded his own Kickstarter project last year.
Kickstarter isn't a magic pill. It takes work, it takes planning, it takes effort, and it takes network.
It's just super exciting.
Bill and Cara hope they have what it takes to make their campaign successful. They have until March 28th to reach their goal.
This only works if we can get our community to, stand with us and do this with us.
If Bill and Cara don't reach their $17,000 goal, they don't receive any of the money pledged to them. So
Could happen. It happened for their neighbors right down the street.
Yeah, it sure did.
Travail,
Travail had worked wonders. So
maybe that'll happen to them too. Good luck.
All right, well, coming up, how classroom learning is headed outdoors in Brooklyn Park.
But first, Champlin Park's girls basketball team is on a roll late in the season. That's coming up in sports with Jay Wilcox.
Welcome back. Jay Wilcox joins us now with sports, and March Madness is in full effect.
That's right. Playoff time is so great at the end of the winter season, whether it's hockey, basketball, wrestling, gymnastics. I mean, all these things this is what they really work so hard for to get ready for this time. Hopkins and Eden Prairie have both been regular visitors to the state boys basketball tournament in recent years. Sections have been realigned slightly, so now they are both in Section 6, 4A. And the Royals meeting up with the Eagles for the section title. Amir Coffey lines up a long three for the Royals and connects. It's an early 6-2 Hopkins lead. In transition, John Warren steps back and nails a three of his own. Hopkins jumps out to a 15-4 lead, 15 points on the night for Warren. But Grantham Gillard and the Eagles storm back with this hoop tying at 35-35 at halftime. But Hopkins fans get more to cheer about from there. Coffey with a nice drive for two of his 20 points early in the second half. And he whips the pass to Noble Fonbele on the baseline for two, and the Royals go up by 10. Jake Wright can really shoot the ball for Hopkins. He buries a three from the left side here, and Hopkins is headed to state with a 77-64 win. We'll have highlights of the Champlin Park Osseo section final Monday on Sports Jam and 12 News. Champlin Park's girls played well late in the season. They want to carry it over to playoff time. The Rebels won 4 straight to close the regular season, and that helped push them into the number 2 seeding in Section 5 4A behind Centennial. The Rebels had some ups and downs, finishing with a 15-10 regular season mark. They say that's helped them to be battle-tested.
I think it got a little rocky. We were starting to get bothered, but we still pulled it together, and I think we're starting to get going now and starting to go on a run. So I think it all happened for a reason, and now we're starting to get up there.
I said, girls, if you would have asked before the season, where do you think we'll end up, and where you want to end up, they probably would have said the number 2 seed. And after all the ups and downs and after all the ebbs and flows, that's where we ended up. Kind of crazy. We got hot in the last week.
Champlin Park beat Irondale 76-42 in the section quarterfinals. They meet Maple Grove in the semifinals on Tuesday. Totino Grace's boys hockey team made the state tournament for the first time since 2005. The Eagles face St. Cloud Cathedral in the Class A quarterfinals. The puck is poke-checked here by Cathedral, but Blake Fago follows up to score for Totino Grace to make it 2-1 Eagles. A turnover by Cathedral cost them just 23 seconds later. Vogley carries behind the net and sets up Joey Bry for his second goal of the game, and it's 3-1 Totino Grace after one period. But the Crusaders come back on a 2-on-1. Logan New over to Matt Fritz for the tap-in. That makes it 3-2. They later tie it up at 3-all, and this one goes to overtime. On a power play, St. Cloud Cathedral wins it as Eric Gadboy bangs a rebound in. Grace falls 4-3 in a heartbreaker. They went on to play in the consolation final. Well, fish houses are supposed to be off Minnesota lakes in the lower 2/3 of the state now, but there's still plenty of good ice if you want to sit outside. Here's Tackle Terry Tuma with this week's Channel 12 fishing tip.
So many times we take rods and reels, different baits and different lures, our boats, our fish houses, whatever it may be, and we just anticipate great fishing success. And that's fine. We have to have this equipment, not the proper equipment. We're not going to catch any fish. It's really sort of that, plain and simple. But I really feel there are some other ingredients that are much more important. What we're doing sometimes, I think it's just we get so overwhelmed with all these different products, and I sure can tell you this year of all the questions that have been asked, but what we really need to do is have a very positive attitude. Don't come up with these excuses, well, I should have taken this bait, I didn't have it, I got out here too late. These are all negative factors, and that is going to play a major role in catching your fish through the ice and into the open water. This is the last tip for the ice fishing season for this year, right here on Channel 12, but be sure to tune in. Starting in May, we're going to be fishing for all species of fish with a lot of different applications, tools of the trade, if you will. Be sure to tune in and have some great late ice fishing and always release some fish.
Thanks, Terry. Let's hope by May he's actually in open water, not on the ice anymore. Right?
Well, that's right, but it all comes down to attitude.
That's right.
Keep a good attitude.
Keep a good attitude.
All
That's
right.
right.
Thanks, Jay.
Well, still ahead, how some Brooklyn Park students plan to take their learning outside.
Plus, an Armstrong student with an impressive 1-2 punch. Why this student has her sights set on Tokyo, coming up next.
Students at Brooklyn Junior High are taking part in a building project that's several years in the making. They met with an architect to review their plans to build an outdoor classroom next to the school in Shingle Creek. The project is a collaborative effort with the city of Brooklyn Park. The outdoor classroom and trails will be a setting for many subjects, from science to art and English. The process of getting it built has been a learning experience as well.
You create something, but it doesn't work out, so you have to improve it and make it better, and that's always going to happen.
The give and take and the ideas that one person would have and then another person takes off and hitchhikes on that, it just expands, totally, and the kids are just excited to be able to use that space.
Brooklyn Junior hopes to break ground on the outdoor classroom this spring. Well, many high school seniors juggle complicated schedules.
Amanda Bluford of Armstrong High School takes it to another level.
Teatro.
Amanda Bluford is a student in the highest level of Spanish offered at Armstrong High School.
Amanda's an amazing student.
Teachers describe Amanda as dedicated, and Amanda says keeping her grades up is something she works toward every day.
I just live day by day. I just try to stay positive and stuff because it's really tiring.
Tiring because of Amanda's packed schedule.
Amanda is really committed to her studies, and somehow, amazingly, she's able to fit in all of this practice for her dreams for the Olympic Games.
6 days a week, Amanda trains.
She's a great athlete. Her power and her explosiveness is pretty amazing.
She was on the U.S. Junior National Team and brought home a gold medal from the Junior Pan Am Games. Now she's a senior competitor with a plan for the Olympics.
I think she has a pretty good shot for 2020.
Experience and points right now because I need to rank myself in the world ranking system.
So Amanda is planning more international competitions.
I'm planning a trip to Germany for the German Open, so that's going to be the farthest place I ever went.
Which is a far cry from the dream she had when she was only 7.
First, when I started, it was just to prove my brothers I was better than them.
Then her dreams got bigger as she watched older competitors.
I remember one time they went to an Iowa tournament, and I thought that was so cool, and I was like, I just want to go to Iowa and compete.
After graduating this spring, Amanda will attend Florida International University.
In Miami, that's where Juan Marino, he's the Olympic coach for Taekwondo, and that's where his gym is, and I'm going to train there with him and hopefully fulfill my dreams.
Amanda plans to go into athletic training and nutrition. The 2020 Games are in Tokyo.
It's a far cry from Iowa.
I know. A little more exotic in Tokyo, I think. That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Have a nice weekend. We'll see you on Monday at 4.